Hey everyone, and welcome back to Cooking with Big Mark. Today we're talking about Asian wraps. And take it away, Dad.
Okay, well, this is, I guess, be the final wrap up of the reps we've been doing on wraps. And the difference, the ones we did before on phyllo dough and the puff paste were really wraps and things. They weren't so much wraps as they were layers of things that expensive things could be contained in. And the wraps we're doing in Asia are really like poor country foods in many respects. They both require time, talent, and technique. But the difference is, and fourth one is money. In the European background, most of have money. It's just the butter alone and puff paste would make it prohibitive for many people in the Asian countries. In the normal run of things. So these become like street food. A good deal of the bread. You notice that all the flat breads, whatever, they're all very thin breads that are done a la minute on either a hot rocks, or on stones or something else. Just mixtures of flour and water, basically, a little salt, and cook quickly. And then you get things like dumplings, the Chinese dumplings, of course. The ingredients, they were small amounts of meat, which would be expensive and scarce, and mostly vegetables and things. And the bread itself, whatever you want to call it, whatever form it was in, became the thing that filled people up, and they will do it. So it's poor country food. So that's the difference between the two types of doughs that we're talking about. The dumplings, as I said, you can buy now dumpling skins. That's a flour-based thing. It's almost like pie crust in some respects. But again, be filled, and they can be steamed, they can be fried, they can be boiled in soup. And the fillings are imaginative. And of course, the dim sums are really high-end dim sums. The fillings are the difference. And of course, most of the time is shrimp and pork. And the richness, again, would be the money available for the fillings. Then you have spring rolls, the Chinese spring rolls, which are, again, a very thin wheat-based strip of pastry. And they rolled it up and had it. And the spring roll comes because the Chinese New Year is sort of like the end of winter, right around spring. And these would be the first vegetables that would come out. Would be, they call them spring rolls because it's the oncoming of spring, celebration of things being grown.
Cool, I didn't know that.
Then you go to egg rolls. The difference between a spring roll and an egg roll is to the batter they added eggs. And the egg now made it a little bit thicker, and this way you see bubbles a lot on an egg roll wrapper. That's from the egg being introduced into the doughs to add to the flour and water. And those, again, you can buy egg roll wrappers, and they sort of go around everything. So the whole Asian thing, empanadas, you can buy skins, tortillas, flatbreads, wonton wrappers, pita bread. These are all things that can wrap up around food. They're easy to handle. They kind of eliminate a plate, a fork, a knife, and anything else. You wrap it up and walk around with it. And it's easy eating, and which is why it becomes adaptable to street foods. And good, and serves the thing and gives the bulk for any more bang for your buck. However, the one I'm going to talk about today, which is a little bit different style, is the rice paper. And that was mostly in Vietnam, is the origin of that. And I remember seeing these, they call summer rolls, down in Martha's Vineyard, going out to the famous Tisbury Fairs out there by Alley's General Store and North State Street, going out in the Vineyard. And they were every Wednesday and Saturday from, I think it was 9 to 12. And I remember I'd go out just to see the little flower arrangements they have in those the number 5 cans they're famous for.
Yeah.
And I saw this little booth all the time, these sort of translucent, salad-looking things. And it was a Vietnamese woman, and that's what she was doing with summer rolls. So what that is, it's a shelf stable, meaning you have it on the shelf. It's very hard. It is made out of rice flour and sometimes mixed in with tapioca flour. And what you do is reconstitute it in cool water, and just enough. You put it in for maybe 5-10 seconds, until you find it bending a little bit, then boom, you pull it out. And the best way to work with it, most of the ones I'm talking about the size of maybe a luncheon plate. And you put it on a piece of kitchen towel, because that'll absorb some of the extra moisture. And you always want to do your prep ahead of time. The best shape for being contained in the summer rolls are things that are long pieces of things, strips. So you cut carrot strips and chicken or whatever else strips you want.
This would be like a julienne style strip.
Yeah, but not yes, the julienne exactly, but not quite as small as a julienne, just a little bit bigger. That's all.
Okay.
It could be julienne as well, and you can put any kind of combinations that you want in there. And you just roll it up, and it sort of sticks once it rolls in onto itself. It's sealed. And you can add more things into it and fold it up and then just roll it. The one thing you have to be careful of is that you don't want them to, when you make them ahead of time, you want no more than an hour and a half to 2 hours ahead of time, because again, moisture acidity will sort of help it disintegrate. And you don't want to pack them so that they touch, because they'll stick to each other.
Right.
And when you take them up, you pull, obviously all your stuff is going to fall out. So one way to deal with that is to have damp paper towels. Just sort of, encase them on a tray and then put them around, and it keeps it. But it's really kind of a lot of fun with what you can put in. And of course, the big thing then is having a dipping sauce with it, and that could be any one of your salad dressings. It could be peanut sauce, the famous Thai peanut sauce. It can be any one of those simple sauces that you see with so many Asian dishes, which are really a makeup of sugar, fish sauce, and soy sauce, and the acid sweet combination, which is where that umami flavor comes from, from the burst of that. So all these breads and things, the size, the sizes vary. The other thing with spring rolls, they're gluten-free, and they're also vegan friendly, which is an asset if you have people that have that problem. So those are many of the things that we've been talking about in wraps, and the things you can put inside these things. I mean, you can have asparagus, you can have romaine lettuce, cucumber, avocado, all kinds of herbs and stuff. I did one once where I had a fried chicken I wanted to use for a picnic, but I wanted to have a salad type item. So I took, I had chewy sourdough bread I cut in little batons, and the chicken and romaine lettuce and some Parmesan shreds, and roll those up in it, and then had the dipping sauce was the Caesar salad dressing. So if you bit into it, dip it in, it was like having a Caesar salad, but much more easy to handle. So anyway, they're kind of intriguing. What you put in shows through. As I said, they are translucent, so you can see the food inside. But it's a different way to serve and to expand your culinary capabilities. And so I will say right now that this is a wrap.
All right. Two questions. The woman on the vineyard, what would she put in her rice paper rolls?
Hers was all really vegetables. It'd be daikon, carrots, cucumbers. She didn't see much in the way of meats, as I remember. The herbs, basil, I remember think you do it. I'm sure there are other kinds of vegetables that she would put in. But that was the main thing. The other thing you can use in these things would be any kind of salads, like as long as they weren't goopy or drippy salads, because any too much moisture inside, obviously, could tend to.
Well, especially acidity could just flow through it.
Yeah.
And the other question is, what is a lunch plate? This is, I think, outside of the current parlance.
Lunch plates are always a little bit smaller than a dinner plate's probably about a 10-inch plate.
Okay.
A lunch plate would be about 8. Again, the reason you had a smaller plate for a luncheon set is that you didn't eat as much food for lunch as you did at night. Again, in the Western tradition, A lot of other places, the heaviest meal is at noontime and the smaller meal at night. But when they talk about the old days, it would be the bigger meal would be at night, and that required a bigger plate, and a smaller one would be a lunch style plate that required less food on it.
That's wild. Just it's kind of course, one needs the other to exist, but the dinner plate is still very much in parlance, and lunch plate is just gone.
Well, I think you're right. Now that you mention it, I think because I had a whole set that our mother, your mother, my wife, had a complete set. I don't know sometimes she used it of luncheon set. I still got it. Complete set of cups, tea, but on the plates. That the china we use normally is sort of referred to as my china, and this was her china. It's one with all the little flowers on it, the Staffordshire English.
Yeah. They had the gold rim.
Yep.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking of when you said lunch plates. I said that's probably.
But there's how customs and mores change, and you just pointed out a very good example of it.
Yeah, and I guess, did you have smaller plates at lunch at Gallagher?
No, not in the main dining because we were serving normal meal.
Okay, so they were similar because we have those plates, but it's dinner plates and then little salad plates.
Yeah.
Those
No,
are indestructible. I mean, they've been in service since the 70s and they're still going strong in our cabinet.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing. Anyway, thinking of good things in small packages, our beverage today is from the terrific Chicago brewery Hopewell, and this is their fanciful little buddy. So we're kind of both saying hello and goodbye to this because of the aluminum shortages. This particular model of their beer is going out of production for the time being, which is unfortunate. One sort of interesting aspect of the early part of the stay at home was keg production was no longer a focus of breweries, and they started putting pretty much everything in cans because that's how they could sell it. So this led to aluminum shortages, and we're still seeing that to a certain extent today, and certainly, unfortunately, in the case of our cute little buddy. This is a lager, 8 ounces, perfect size for somebody who doesn't want to drink too much beer or just wants something petite on the go. So this is a really nice, clean lager. It probably you could say a high-end Budweiser or something. It's not. Most of their beer tends to be more aromatic and more stylistically distinctive. But this is just a happy. This would be if you had a little cooler of these. If you've been hoarding those, the shortage doesn't affect you. Little cooler of these guys at the beach would be like ideal, especially because it's small. You don't have to worry about it getting warm. Anyway, this has been Cooking with Big Mark. We do encourage you to subscribe and tell your friends, and always a pleasure to see everyone. And all right, bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
All right.